Imagine the look on your players' faces when the very floor beneath them sprouts eyes and teeth, turning their safe haven into a living nightmare. Welcome back, adventurers. I'm Dunk from Dunk's Dungeon, a superfan of D&D. Today we're delving deep into the world of mimics. But not just any mimic. We're talking about the ultimate boss fight that'll leave even the most cautious party questioning every treasure chest they encounter. And trust me, even if they think they're prepared, the real terror has only just begun. Stick around to the end to find out why. Mimics, mimics, mimics. I absolutely love mimics. There is nothing quite like watching the color drain from my players' faces when a well-placed mimic pops its eyes open at the most inopportune moment, revealing a mouth full of razor-sharp teeth. The inevitable chorus of, "No, no, 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 not again!" as they realize they're caught off guard is pure gold. But here's the thing about mimics. They lose their edge with a paranoid party. So how do you keep the suspense alive? You adapt. You change the game. You time their appearances just right, long enough between encounters to lower their guard, but frequently enough that they never feel completely safe. So what happens when a mimic who has devoured everything in the dungeon and becomes too big to disguise itself as a mundane object? How does it ensure the next generation of mimics continues to terrorize the world? Enter the Mimic Broodmother, a mimic the size of a room, with tricks up its sleeves that will either feast on your party or spread its progeny far and wide, depending on how the encounter unfolds. I drew inspiration from a nature documentary about the giant Pacific octopus. When she has a brood of eggs, she defends them with her dying breath to give the next generation the best chance at survival. Combining this with the greater mimic from the 2nd edition D&D Monstrous Compendium, which was as big as a room and had a smothering move, I created the Mimic Broodmother. Your party is adventuring in the Underdark when they hear rumors about a trading post, about an abnormally large chest overflowing with treasure that seems to move around the surrounding caverns. But here's the kicker. Everyone who's gone looking for the chest has never returned. Instantly, your players think mimic, as they should. They embark on this hunt and stumble upon a cavern where, bathed in an unnatural beam of light, sits a colossal chest filled to the brim with gold coins and glittering jewels. Its lid is eerily open, almost inviting. The chest is uncannily large, almost comically so. They've found their mimic, or so they think. But here's the twist. The chest isn't a mimic. It's actually an eggshell made of chitin or calcium carbonate, highly resistant to damage and entirely separate from the mimic itself. Poking with sticks, casting firebolts, it all makes the chest slam shut, but it doesn't damage it or activate any traps. It's the ultimate red herring. As the party steps into the room, the real Mimic Broodmother makes her move. Concealed as the cavern's roof, she stealthily slides down the walls, sealing off all exits. Suddenly, multiple eyes and fang-ridden mouths open up all over the walls and ceiling. The room itself becomes the enemy. Your party splits up. Some of them are inside the cavern, some of them are outside the cavern. Tension skyrockets. The openings are now sealed by sticky mimic flesh. A massive maw appears in the ceiling, and 4 to 6 pseudopods sprout around it, attempting to grapple and pummel the adventurers, dragging them towards the gaping mouth. By round 2, the mimic has spread across the floor. The combination of its sticky surface and biting mouths turns the ground into difficult terrain. If you're feeling particularly devious, treat it like spike growth, dealing damage with every step. Or, to be a bit kinder, have the players make dexterity saving throws to avoid taking damage each round. You can even use the pseudopod attacks as legendary actions to keep the action economy balanced and the players on their toes. For those trapped inside, escape seems impossible, but remember, the mimic flesh sealing the exits can be attacked, and if enough damage is dealt in a single round, the party could carve out an escape route. Meanwhile, pseudopods can sprout outwards to fend off any rescue attempts from the party members outside the cavern. This encounter encourages creativity. In my game, the fighter leapt into the chest to avoid the perilous floor. The bard used dissonant whispers to force the mimic to retreat from certain areas, creating temporary safe zones. The sorcerer unleashed Thunderwave to blast an exit path. Tailor the mimic's stats, the damage, output, hit points and abilities to match the party's level. This ensures an epic boss fight that's challenging but fair. But wait, there's more. Defeating the Mimic Broodmother is just the beginning. Remember the octopus's maternal instincts? Like her, the broodmother was nearing the end of her life and aimed to give her offspring the best start possible. And what better distribution network than unsuspecting, treasure-hungry adventurers? The real treasure isn't gold, it's mimic eggs. Some of those shiny coins are actually eggs encased in gold shells, indistinguishable from the real currency. The broodmother uses actual gold to craft these shells, making them effectively real coins. The eggs only hatch after being handled by warm-blooded creatures. The heat and movement activate their hatching cycle. They can remain dormant for years, perhaps hidden in a dragon's hoard or tucked away in a bag of holding, only to spring to life when conditions are right. Here's where the paranoia sets in. Everywhere the party spends their gold becomes infested with mimics. Shops in their home base might turn into deadly traps upon their return. There's mysterious disappearances of gold coins. Night after night, 2 to 3 gold pieces vanish. Is somebody stealing from them? Is Bobbin the Goblin up to his old tricks? Or is something more sinister at play? Then there's betrayal at the worst moment. Imagine reaching for a healing potion during a critical battle, only for it to sprout eyes and teeth, biting back instead of healing. And then those who like to hoard gold, you better beware. If a party member is stockpiling gold, say over 100 coins, the eggs could hatch simultaneously during a long rest, unleashing swarms of tiny mimics that attack while they sleep. Only true sight can reveal these deceptive eggs, and they're incredibly resilient. To destroy them, one would need to melt them down completely. So how would your players react when the very currency they carry becomes a threat? I've included a stat block for the Mimic Broodmother in the description below. If any of you monster creators out there want to craft a better stat block or expand upon this idea, I'd love to see your creations. Drop a link in the comments or send it my way and I'll be happy to feature it. So thank you for joining me on this terrifying journey into the world of mimics. If you decide to unleash the Mimic Broodmother on your players, I'd love to hear how it goes. Share your stories, your triumphs, and potentially your TPKs. Until next time, may you roll well, and more importantly, roll often.